In this use case, we explore integrating our cloud management platform with an external system, specifically for this scenario, a configuration management database or CMDB. Most cloud deployments require some degree of integration with external systems. Therefore, having the ability to easily perform and programmatically repeat the process is a key requirement of the cloud management platform as well. IBM Cloud Orchestrator has content packs for many popular third-party platforms and systems, including CMDBs. However, for the sake of simplicity, we'll be using a local CMDB instance to speed up the demonstration. In order to perform this integration, I'm going to switch over to the IBM Process Designer, which will allow me to modify or define new processes that interact with my cloud management platform. So specifically, I have a process ready that we're going to be working with for the next several use cases. And I'm going to open it up. It's called Deploy VM Basic Base. And if we take a quick look at it, it's going to get some information from the user, and then it's going to call another process to actually deploy a single virtual machine. Now, this particular example is just deploying a single virtual machine, but conceptually it would be the same if we were deploying a heat stack or multiple VMs. And just to show you an example, if I open up this process, we can see the details of one of the product-provided processes that's used to actually provision virtual machines in OpenStack. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this and get back to our wrapper process that we'll be working with. The Process Designer allows us to nest these processes so that we can, one, reuse them in other activities, and then two, define custom actions for particular scenarios that we want to address, such as this one. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this particular connection right now, and I'm going to bring in what we refer to as an implementation. So these implementations can also be provided out of the box or from our content marketplace. So for example, if you were integrating with ServiceNow, you could go out to our content marketplace, download the ServiceNow content pack, and have the integration services and other services that are relevant specifically to ServiceNow. But since I'm using a local CMDB, I just have a simple create CI available right now. But essentially the process is really the same. All I would need to do is drag and drop this particular process from my implementation palette over on the diagram panel. And then I just need to wire this in line so that the process knows where to go and when, and specify a couple variables. So in particular, I want to map the server object that's being used within the process to the CMDB. So I'm going to go in and I'll just browse for this right here. I'll say I want to use the local server variable, and I'll pass that into my create CI, which will then write that out to the CMDB. So let's go ahead and save this process. And then next, we'll create a self-service offering so that the users actually have a place to call this particular offering from the self-service user interface. So let's switch back over to the Cloud Orchestrator Web UI. And you can see I'm logged in as an administrator right now. And we'll go into the self-service catalog configuration. Now, first we see the list of categories that have been created. So essentially these act as folders, if you will, that group related offerings together. But specifically, what we want to do in this case is create a new offering. So I will click on Offerings, then Create Offering. I'll give my new offering a name and a description. Deploy a workload with custom orchestration to show integration and approval. And let's go ahead and select an icon. We'll just use the configuration icon and an existing category of demo offerings. And now let's go ahead and filter this list by the toolkit that I've been using, and we'll select the process that we modified, so deploy VM basic base. And the human service defines what the user interface looks like, so I'm just going to use the deploy VM basic UI for this. Now, if we go ahead and look at the configure access control, this would be where we could define who actually could see this offering after we finish creating it. So if we wanted to expose this to a particular company or a particular group within a company or to everyone, we could change all of that here. So as it stands right now, I'll be okay with the default, so I'll just click OK. And now I'll go ahead and click Create. So we see the service is finished, and if we go over to our self-service catalog, very quickly, now if I search for orchestration, we can see that now my new offering is available in the UI. So deploy a workload with custom orchestration is here. Let's go ahead and test it. So remember, we were creating a CMDB entry after this, so let's go ahead and click, we'll create this in the VMware region. And I'll say VMware with CMDB. And now I can change the image. I'll go ahead and leave these the defaults, and I'll go ahead and click deploy. So I'll just leave those defaults right there. And we can follow the request in the request panel, and this will take just a couple minutes. So I'll go ahead and come back when that finishes. All right, let's refresh the page. We can see now that the deploy workload with custom orchestration is complete. And now let's go back and look in our self-service catalog. I actually have another offering that allows us to view the CMDB. We'll go ahead and launch our CMDB CI viewer. And if I scroll down to the bottom, we see that the one that we just provisioned, the VMware with CMDB, was provisioned, it's active, and the date and time match up to what it is actually right now. So that shows that our orchestration and integration with the CMDB is working. And we'll take a look at how we could integrate approvals in another video.